Welcome to another edition of Lone Star Brahmas Inside the Bullpen, brought to you by Vine Life Realty. And now, here's your host, Nick Merritt.
Our summer edition of Inside the Bullpen is back. Lone Star Brahmas action and Texas Junior Brahmas action on this podcast edition. Nick Merrick here with Chad Seward. No Walter today. Walt Ruff is on a very important trip. Chad, care to share about that?
Walt is so everybody, we're pretty much the only people here in town. Let's see, Dan and Jeff where are they? They're two different parts of the country.
They are. One's bachelor trip and one scouting trip. Polar opposites, too.
And then Al Rooney is accompanying Dan. Where are they? They're in Omaha, which meant we had a big commitment in Canada. So we sent the man with the $1 million suit, Walt Ruff, who's in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. So, Walt, if you're listening to this, hope Yellowknife is treating you well. I'm sure it's not the warmest place in the world, but hey, neither is Brahmaland right now. It's been real rainy here.
It's been terrible here, man. It's been torrential downpour after torrential downpour.
Yeah, it is. It is a very wet one.
You got some fun facts about where Walt's staying?
Yeah. Hey, did you know Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, is the diamond capital of North America?
Wow. I didn't.
More fun facts later, Nick.
More fun facts later. There you go, Walt. Get your future girlfriend some diamonds, I guess, while you're there.
Hey, here's another fun fact. How many Brahma players have come from the Northwest Territories?
Any?
One. Don't ask me his name. I got to look that up.
Ryan Watson?
No. Watson was an Ontario guy. I should know this. Anyway.
You'll find that while we fire away here.
It's James Hebert.
Oh.
Or, depending on how you pronounced it, some people called him Hebert.
Hebert?
Even though it's Hebert. He was from Northwest Territories, not Quebec.
That's okay. You got to go with some accents to make it sound better.
But
right?
Yeah. So, shout out to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and Walt. Please represent us well and bring us back a stud player.
Well, Walt's back before the NAHL Draft, which leads us to a couple of points in terms of a hockey standpoint. The pre-draft camp just took place in Illinois last week, actually, and heard some good things from all three of our Brahmas coaches that were there, Al, Jeff, and Dan. Said there were quite a good showing of kids. I think it was like 75 or so at those camps, and definitely a few of them they're going to target in their respective drafts coming up this month in June. Happy June, by the way, everybody. Hope you all had a good Memorial Day weekend as well. But then off the draft talks, which we'll get to in just a little bit, let's go to some things that we saw Brahmas on the move in the past couple of weeks, and the list is pretty darn impressive. One thing Walt and I actually joked about are the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. No offense to them.
Here we go.
I'm not going to take a shot at them.
Here comes the blood.
But obviously they put out a tweet. This is just a fun fact to compare the two organizations. They had 2 college commitments as well this summer, so their college commitment total is up to 4, and I understand that is that they were and are a younger team than us, so it's a little different scenarios. But the Brahmas got 4 commitments in the last week alone this
Shots
past
fired.
summer. So really great job there by the Brahmas staff and getting the recognition to the players, and a job well done, obviously, on the season. Martin Melberg off to Division I at AIC, American International. He's playing with Mitchell Mueller, a former Brahma over in American. Also, Sammy Suominen turning pro, one of now our 4th pro, or at least pro, what do you call him, pro contact or a connection with the Brahmas. Obviously, Kupski's rights are owned. Santesson went last year. There might be some more draft picks this year. Who knows? That's at the end of this month. And you know, so great thing there to see Samu move on. He's going back to his pro team in Finland. And then 2 more college commitments with Bud Made going to Adrian College, and Tomas Breka to Curry College. So
it's a lot of movement. And
it's a pretty big move.
He re-signed up there too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did
so
he?
He's in for another year.
Good deal.
Hey, there's something too. Playing in North America seems to help you. So
it's true.
Hopefully, Samu will thrive over there, and hopefully we'll get another couple of euros to help push us over the top this next year.
Well, that's the funny part, too, and that kind of leads us to part of the draft talk and also some free agency stuff that's going to go on this offseason. But each team you're allowed...
You want draft talk fanfare?
Okay.
Let's get some draft talk fanfare here going. It's a high-tech budget here. All right, there you go. There's your draft talk fanfare.
About to jump in the Lone Star Brahmas. Anyway,
Ladies
so
and gentlemen.
because the Brahmas lost all of their import or foreign players, there's quite a few to refill.
Right.
So obviously Melbourne to college, we just said that. Breka to college, we just said that. Samu to pro in Finland, we just said that. And that leaves Lundgren, the fourth body of those guys, still yet to be determined. But it seems like there's some things in the mix for him as well. But that's four guys from outside of the States that
you're allowed in the NAHL 4.
Yes. And then actually Samu wouldn't have even cost one of the four because he played in the States for 3 years. So
he was
there's
in the
all
same
these
boat
funky
as
rules. Steen.
Solovyev.
And Solovyev.
And Steen.
Both of them.
There we go.
Yeah, so if your nationalities from abroad and you come back, too bad you didn't play the national anthem, right?
I didn't have that one ready.
You won't hurt the total number of imports. So the Brahmas have 4 import spots they're allowed to fill. Guess what? Currently on the roster, look, zero. None.
But those usually come late. They don't really fly over here for pre-draft camp or any of that. Maybe we get one from the USHL.
I think we might have a Canadian coming if it's in the works. Walt and I are putting out a tender release, by the way, to get our final wave of locked up players before the draft. You'll see that later on this week. And I believe if all goes well, there might be one Canadian in that. So I guess that would be the one import out of. But that's still 3 spots to fill. You could bring them in from Finland again. You can go back to Sweden. There's been some good success there.
Well, and with Walt being in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, here's another fun fact. Kevin Coe, world champion curler from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. Did you know that, Nick?
I did not, but I do know.
Perhaps a future Brahma could come from Yellowknife.
Do you know where the national training facilities are for curling?
I don't.
Bemidji, Minnesota.
Bemidji.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of them's up there. Just came back from Minnesota. So.
Nice. I saw you did a little fishing.
I did. Didn't get my curling on, though. Should have got my curling on.
Yeah.
Fishing was terrible, but that's beside the point. And I could probably go catch them out in our parking lot at NYTEX right now.
Probably
based on all the rain that's coming down. Goodness gracious.
So we've got some import spots to fill. We will fill them. And if we don't, that means we've got enough quality players. But, we could get a guy kicked down from the USHL. We could get we'll see.
It happens all the time.
It's a late edition thing.
Yeah.
And
well, you're the one that showed me too the first year. You're like, don't worry, we're gonna get 2 more guys are gonna roll in that you never even thought of, and all of a sudden the team's gonna be just from okay to unreal. And last year or 2 years ago, it was Larson and Andrin, both from USHL. Even Vidmar, I guess year 1 before I was here, kind of snuck his way down mid-season. Last year was Kaspersky, a guy we brought in late, and off to Yale now this year, and he was a top 5 goaltender. Drevich brought him in mid-season.
Yeah. I mean, there's movements, and so the team that usually goes to your main training camp in August is not the team that takes the ice come January 1st. Just the way hockey go.
Yep. A good chunk of them will be, I guess, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Not going to be axing 5 or 6 guys, but hey, I guess you never know if you have too many good players.
So, looking at a board of who we have coming back, I mean, it's all – there's nothing, like, really official. You could get a player could get injured, could get picked up by another league or team.
Right.
Could decide to quit hockey. That's happened before.
Yep.
Obviously, we need help at every position, and that's why Dan and Al are on the road, along with Sir Walt, and we'll see. The draft is what, June 7th?
June 7th,
So that's
Tuesday the
next week.
7th. It's pretty much an all-day thing, by the way. So for fans wanting to tune into that, you could just check back to Twitter. That'll be the best spot, at Lone Star Brahmas. You'll get the immediate updates. You could obviously follow the NAHL as well for the entire thing. NAHL.com. We'll have a link to the draft board. And then we'll put a Facebook post or two in there, but not too much. I don't want to kill you. So obviously go to Twitter if you want to hear everything up to the minute.
And then some fans, so we had a season ticket early bird pricing deadline that came on Monday. So we had a lot of ticket holders coming through the office, putting deposits down, paying on their invoices and
Love
whatnot.
hearing that.
Yeah, of course. And one of the questions was, what can we expect at this camp here? We've got a camp at NYTEX in June.
Yes, we do.
That is an open camp. So it's obviously after the draft.
Right.
Before the main camp. It's just kind of a chance for the coaches to, find somebody that may have slipped through the cracks.
Yep.
And we will always, always, always take people from that camp to our main camp.
100%.
So, in fact, you might even have
And the main camp in July is the more important one for the fans wondering.
100%. And that one is done in sunny Michigan, I believe
Yes.
Taylor, Michigan.
Yes. Up towards Detroit.
Yeah, so the camp in June is it's a tryout camp, but there will be the local guys will skate.
Absolutely.
In fact, today we had a couple guys. We had
I think Marbella was out there skating.
Marbella, Carson Kelly was skating. We had top prospects over the weekend. We had former Brahma Johan Steen skating along with the aforementioned guys. So I mean, there's going to be a mix of, I don't want to say legit and insult the rest of the field, but there's a mix of players in there, so you can kind of see how these young guys stand up. So we'll see.
Right. Well, you'll have good comparison points if you want to come. Obviously,
100%.
we'll be there, so it's still a great camp. I mean, obviously, there's talent there, but like Chad said, the main reason for it is to try to get those extra holes. So you aren't going to force a guy like Carson Kelly to fly back from California or
No.
Peter Kessel to fly from Michigan. You know they're on the team, so you won't really see all of the
Unless they just
current
want
Brahmas, unless
to
they
get
really
a skate.
want to, right? Which usually they all have their own trainers back at home, so you don't see that too often. But
And this camp is different. It's different than how we used to do. We did this thing called making the cut in the Central Hockey League days, and that was a open tryout, and it was not necessarily just straight games. There were games. There was players divided up in teams, but it was usually one day of drills that Dan designed to basically weed out the weak. And you would have people vomiting on the ice. You'd have people calling for an ambulance with heart palpitations and all sorts of things because it was the most brutal skate I've ever seen in my life. This camp and the way his camps roll is a couple meetings and then some games.
Yes.
See how these guys.
yes, I want to see them in action. Don't waste any time. And
Yeah.
it's the right way to do it. So we'll see what holes kind of get filled in
Yeah.
the next couple of weeks before the draft, after the draft, all that fun jazz. And then, main camp will be fun. So, again, that June 24th weekend
Yep.
is when that's happening here at NYTEX. So, yes, you can come. Yes, you can watch. It will be fun. It'll
And
be
the
a
NHL
different
draft will be that
experience.
weekend as well, and
Yes.
we expect to see some players that played in this building with the Brahmas and against the Brahmas being drafted that weekend.
Wouldn't that be cool? Back-to-back years of Brahma
It'd
draft.
be pretty cool.
Really
There's
cool.
been a heavy interest from the National Hockey League with the North American Hockey League over the past couple years, and players are seeing more and more goalies and defensemen go,
Yes.
a.k.a. Jake Kupski. So we'll see. We'll see what that happens there.
Well, and then the big thing, too, as we gear up for next year, the
Yes.
league, again, they released a new app, so you can get that on either the Android market or the App Store. Just type in NAHL, and it'll pretty much pop up.
Which, speaking of,
Yes.
call me Captain Interruption. I'll be interrupting you on that. But speaking of apps, we have something that's pretty exciting that we've been working on here. Nick and I have partnered up with this. Well, not Nick and I, but the Brahmas. We have partnered up with a company called Dash, and it is a app for sports teams. We're going to be doing a lot of online auctions. So if you are in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and we're doing a jersey auction, you will have an opportunity to participate without being here. We'll do some cool memorabilia auctions, some fan experience auctions, What else are we talking about? All sorts of just whatever.
I mean, it's pretty much Year of the Fan continuing just without the name.
But yeah, so special shout out to Dash. Jonathan, the CEO of that company, has been really cool to work with.
Yes.
And we'll have instructions, and that'll be 2 apps that our fans will have to download. Not a Brahmas app yet, but
we'll see. Maybe down the road.
We're stepping along that.
We'll slowly get there. Part of it, we want to hear your feedback, your interaction as well. And we'll give you more details on the Dash app and what exactly it will mean. But I think it's going to be something very cool. Add to your experience during the game when you're back at home to that extent. So also working with Lindsay, their social media coordinator, has one of her roles, and we're gonna kind of get on the same page with her and show her our visions, hear her visions, and really try to make this as good as we can for you, being our great fans that you are in the North American Hockey League, which I'm going to segue a little bit ahead on the good fan talk. By the way, a big shout out to you guys for tuning into our work every week, every weekend, whenever, daily basis, hourly basis. God bless you all. But Fast Hockey just released their numbers, and they told us some great news that we had the second most viewers out of 24 teams in the North American Hockey League, and we had the most viewers in the North American 3 Hockey League, which is over 30 teams. So a big round of applause from us to you. We really appreciate you guys dedicating so much time to Brahmas hockey. I mean, it really means the world to us. We have an absolute blast covering those games. I know I can speak for Walt, too. He's on his recruiting trip, but it's unbelievable to get that feedback, too, from the league and see how pleased our entire staff is to see those numbers keep going up. And obviously part of it too is I'm sure on Dan and Jeff and Al for bringing in great players, and they're getting recruited too. But don't overlook your role in this. You guys on a nightly basis tune in, whether it's you're in Sweden and you're turning on your computer at 4 a.m. in the morning before work. Mm-hmm. We've heard those stories before, and that goes a heck of a long way for us.
No, it's cool. The ownership was very proud of that number. So number 2 and number 1, obviously this next year we want to be 1-1.
Yes.
Which I think is very feasible. I will pat you guys on the back. It's HD, and if you've seen any of the road games, I can't even watch them, to tell you the truth, because the quality is so bad. I'm a spoiled kid with HD, and you watch a visiting broadcast, and sometimes you can't even tell if there is a puck in play or what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that HD feature here. And, of course, not every team has the color and broadcaster duo.
Right. Also true.
I don't know any teams that are doing in-between period interviews. And
Roadrunners did, but not with Arch.
Arch didn't.
No.
He didn't leave the booth.
Who's now, by the way, there's a broadcaster going to Wenatchee, if you remember the Wenatchee Wild.
Yeah.
Shout out to Arch, man.
Shout out to Arch. Good luck with the Wild. And so that kind of segues. It actually doesn't segue, but we're going to force a segue here into so we're going to talk a little bit about some moves we're making in the arena. But did you know, Nick, that Margaret Kidder, best known for playing Lois Lane in the Superman movies from the 70s and 80s,
Nice.
is from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. So
get us an autograph, Walt.
if you see her there, Walt, give her a shout out.
Say the Brahmas Bullpen gave you a shout out.
Hope she's doing well. Loved her work in Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. Did you see that one?
I did.
Some of the worst special effects ever in film. Awesome. I don't know how that has to do with arena moves, but let's just move into arena moves.
I like it. Special effects to special upgrades.
Yes, yeah. They're whatever works, buddy. So we teased it, I think, in the last podcast about potentially moving some seats around in the arena.
Yes.
I physically saw it with my own 2 eyes today. Seats are being moved out.
Yep.
And we're making way to create a couple new fan experience zones, starting with Section M like Michigan, rows 1 and 2, which is right next to the penalty box.
I saw that.
It's a section that had 8 seats.
And they're painting it purple already. I saw that.
Are they? Okay. Well, they're moving fast on that. That's great. So we're going to create a very small and intimate little penalty box suite right there. Couple different ideas on what we're going to do. Either going to have some sort of table for dining option or some sort of old stadium seats like old New York Giants or Dallas Cowboys seats there. So we'll do something really cool there. But the seats have been moved into the West Rink, and so we know that that's going to be a go. Section QQ and Q, which most people don't know because we had...
Sounds like a good band name. QQ and Q.
QQ and Q. We had no season... Actually, we had one season ticket holder. Fun fact, the one season ticket holder we had in QQ and Q also has a Stanley Cup ring.
Nice.
Pat Fogerson. He was the one of the security guards that traveled with the team during their Stanley Cup run in the 90s. So there is a Stanley Cup ring in the house.
That's
whenever,
awesome.
Pat is around.
What team? Stars?
Stars, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, great dude. He was a Dallas PD officer. Great dude. He's set in QQ. So obviously we're going to have to move. Pat, sorry about that. Your ring doesn't keep the section there. Those seats have been moved out, and what we're looking at doing there is a ice level suite of sorts.
Nice.
Some sort of tables and kind of more of a laid back kind of suite area. So there's going to be some construction going on there. And then
we eliminated mezzanine.
All mezzanine seats are now terrace, and one big chunk of terrace seats was section P. It had been plaza for years in the Central Hockey League, and then we changed it to terrace last year, and then this year we just ripped every seat out of it. And there were probably a dozen season ticket holders there. So if you're hearing this for the first time, sorry about that. We'll make it right. But that's going to be a party deck, and we already have corporate interest from a couple companies wanting to sponsor it. It will have it'll be a good like open air suite that has a great sight lines of the end that we shoot twice in.
Yes.
And it'll also be a really cool area if we can arrange it to have a live band either for during the game or for post-game skates or whatever. I mean, a live band in the arena could be really cool. For my musician friends out there, yeah, it'd be cold on your fingers. So sorry about that. That's why I was a drummer. Never.
Right. Never have to worry about strumming.
Never have to worry about that. So that's some of the things going on. That's really all that will go on as far as the actual seating. I don't think we're going to tackle anything more than that. But the ice will get a makeover in August. And,
yes. I think August 15th was that date, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Subject to change based on everything arriving, but we're going to have a sweet new sheet of ice, new boards, new logos.
All needed.
All needed.
Really cool.
Yeah, and so I hope we have new logos on your board of 6,000 things to do.
Oh, yeah, true.
We're going to have to get on that.
True, all the under ice logos, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we blow them up, too.
Yeah, we're going to blow them up big. It's going to look cool, and it will not – my vision of having it look like a hockey arena from Berg, Switzerland with 6,000 logos will not come to fruition, but it'll look better.
I would join you, too. If that happened,
I'd be
okay with it.
I dig
100%.
it.
Also, you'll keep an eye on the center ice in Brahmaland. That may have a different look, too, but nothing's finalized there. Early talks, but with that under ice logo, you might even see a different under ice logo at center ice. And by the way, shout out to the NYTEC Sports Center going into its 10th year of history.
We'll have some fun celebration-y things surrounding that, and I think there's going to be a 10th anniversary patch, perhaps a specialty jersey at some point. There will be more specialty jerseys next year for those of you who've relentlessly asked me why we don't have more specialty jerseys.
I know Walt and I were one of them, too. Whoops.
I know. Yes.
It's not your fault, though. It's not. Nothing goes to Chad. We all try to make it happen, but I guess some things had to fall through last year, and sorry, fans, specialty jerseys, I guess were number one on the chopping block.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there's lots going on this summer in terms of getting ready for next year. Kind of the same old offseason, nothing crazy, but the different arena moves definitely affects you guys. And from a schedule standpoint, last thing too, our schedule will be released sometime later this summer no word on that yet, but the league did make the first step in helping us. They said the Robertson Cup Championship will be May 11th to the 14th in to be announced location.
Yeah.
Top prospects tournaments the last week in February, the 27th, 28th. That one's back at the USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, like it always is. And then also the NAHL Showcase, the first big event of the year, September 21st to the 24th in Blaine. And definitely looking forward to going back there for a second year.
And if I can make a comment, and I know the league is probably not listening, but your format for the Robertson Cup was stupid. Let's hope we can get that right. The best of 5 against your division, and then best of 3, best of 1 is just, come on. I get it, but it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then also people had asked me, quite a few season ticket holders have been asking me about the schedule, when we think it'll come out. I think it's going to be around July 4th.
That's what I would guess, too.
Because we know all the teams that are in.
Right.
It's 24 teams in.
True. Shreveport, by the way, officially in the South.
Officially in the South.
And Northeast Generals officially in the East. So South's at 7 teams now, East's at 5.
Yeah, no shocker there. We pretty much predicted that. And the way it works with the league is they've asked us to submit 40 dates that we would prefer to play at home. That does not mean we're going to have 40 home games and 20 road games. That would not be fair. Especially with the shoebox here. But we submit 40 dates, and then basically they pick 28 for us. I can tell you a couple that we did put in for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's a tradition. That'll be the 10th year in a row that we've done that. Military Appreciation Night game. And then this would be the third year of the MLK Day game, which we were going to make a Kids Day. This year, we've got some corporate sponsors lined up for that. And, of course, as always, we'll have Operation Kindness involved doing their dog adoption.
That's always big.
Maybe this is the year you and Amanda get you a puppy dog.
Man, it might be. If we didn't travel so darn much, I think it would.
Yeah, you could just leave it up here in the office. Just have the staff, feed it, take it out.
Do you mind walking it and clean up poop? And
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I've got there, Nick. Hey, you want another fun fact on Yellowknife Northwest Territories?
Yes, last fun fact. Here it is.
Okay, let's see. It is the capital of the Northwest Territories. And Alex Debogorski of Ice Road Truckers, he's a resident of Yellowknife. So there's a double shot of fun facts about Yellowknife.
I had that stat, and I was like, who's this guy?
So, Walt, I hope you're listening, buddy, because we're just sprinkling you with all kinds of fun facts on Yellowknife.
And that cues us right into the end of our podcast. So we appreciate you guys joining us this week. As always, for Chad and Walt on this trip, I'm Nick Merrick, wishing you all a great week here in early June, and we'll see you back a couple weeks next episode after the NAHL Draft.